Well, what I wrote on the board here, I'll try to talk you guys through it. So today we're going to talk a little bit about how the brain works. And one of the key components, something to think about, is that your brain is in a box. Your brain is in a box. This is your brain. There's your cerebellum. This is your brain stem. Your brain is in a box. That box is called your skull. And so when we start talking about reality processing, how do we know if our patient is processing reality correctly? Well, that's $1 million question, because how do we know that we are processing reality correctly? So the only way we have of processing reality is our brain. But here's the kicker. The brain is in a box, completely isolated from the external world. This skull is one of the strongest bones in the human body, your skull, and it completely isolates your brain from reality. I gotta see who's going. So then, how does your brain know what is even happening in the external world that it has never experienced? Your brain has never experienced the external world. If it did, it would die. It's always a bad thing when you see a patient's brain exposed. They usually don't have long to live. So the way your brain experiences the external world is your nervous system, which we call your senses. So in school, you were probably taught about the 5 senses. What are those? You got your eyesight, vision, taste, touch, smell, hearing, your sense of smell. So those 5 senses are the most common ones we think about, but in reality, we probably have something like 21 different senses. Some examples of other senses that we've recognized is your sense of balance, thermoception, temperature, proprioception, which is your sense of body awareness, where you are in space. I know that my hand is over here right now. And if you get on Wikipedia, I actually got on Wikipedia because I can never spell these words right. There's just tons and tons of different senses that feed information into your brain so that your brain can make sense of reality. And the word for that is perception. Your senses feed information into your brain, and your brain processes that information, and that's called perception. So we have senses and perception. How your brain makes sense of the external world. But the human senses are extremely limited. Extremely limited. Your vision, for example. What is the sense of sight? What are you seeing? What is visible light? It's part of what we call the electromagnetic spectrum of radiation. Like gamma rays, for example, are electromagnetic radiation. But we can only see a very, very tiny percentage of that spectrum. If we were to draw a line of all the different wavelengths of electromagnetic radiation, if we were to draw a line, the visual light that we can see is such a tiny percent of it that for mathematical purposes, it's 0. We can literally see 0.000, like to the billionth power, 1% of the electromagnetic spectrum. So our senses are very limited, but they evolved for a purpose to help us survive. And so they do a pretty good job. But when we talk about reality processing, how much reality we're actually able to process is questionable. Other animals have much different photoreceptors. Some animals can see much better or see different wavelengths. We can't see at night very well. When the sun goes down, we were not evolutionarily designed to see at night very well. But other animals can do much better than us. So senses, perception, the way the brain works is trying to make sense out of reality. The brain is a truth-seeking machine. Is this real? Is what I am seeing actually accurate? So the way we do that is social connections. We compare our experience with our friends and family. Without that social connection, then the question of what reality is doesn't make any sense.